Hello and good morning. I'm your host, April Alvarez, and today on this beautiful Wednesday morning, we are here to get hot and heavy on Africa. We have a special guest here with us today, African specialist Trinity Edales. So Trinity, can you tell us a little bit about this region?
Well, Africa, as depicted in the map, you see, this specific region that you have chosen to talk about today is really very interesting because its history goes back hundreds of years. You see, the group of people in Africa are extremely diverse. In North Africa, many Arabs dominate, while in South Africa there are around 43.6 million people, most of which are part of ethnic groups such as the Sotho, Zulu, and Xhosa. 2/3 of these Africans are Christians. On the east coast of the Swahili dominate from Somalia to Mozambique, and Ashanti control Ghana.
And have any of these groups had any major contributions to African society?
Of course, major contributions were the influence of European culture in Africa during the triangular trade and the scramble for Africa, which promoted Christianity and the exporting of raw goods. The Bantu also influenced African culture by introducing iron to Africa and spreading the language through migration.
Thank you, Trinity. Now let's take a break to see what our chefs are doing outside of the newsroom.
Good morning from our chefs in the kitchen. A new cuisine has been brought to the Swahili coast, which is in East Africa, by people who inhabited the Great Lakes of Africa.
The cuisine is called soft mini mandazi. Its ingredients are coconut, which is traded from the east. Salt was also traded. The African commodities are cardamom, which is from Uganda, and nutmeg, which is Jamaican.
The rest of the ingredients are eggs, sugar, flour, powdered sugar, and vegetable oil, which were all globalization factors which traveled all around the world. This cuisine was used as a breakfast for the people.
We will show you how to make this tasty cuisine later, but for now,
we hope you!
Let's dive into current events affecting the country today. Trinity?
So for the first current event, the issue is that citizens of a small, landlocked East African nation of Burundi head to the polls on Thursday to vote on a referendum to change the constitution.
How did the issue start?
Well, citizens wanted changes like a longer presidency of Pierre Nkurunziza, which they think will make their government more efficient. This is a big effort because around 5 million citizens who live in the region are involved. This including men, women, children, and the president.
Has there been any progress to resolve this issue?
Progress includes polls being established to see if the new constitution should be passed. Things that would follow would be no free maternal care, education, and a longer presidency. This has also affected the people living here because people are asking for free health care, schooling, and many are scared that the president will have too much control.
Thank you for that update. Now can you explain to me what this picture is about?
Well, this is in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ebola has erupted in many places throughout Africa. However, this is the 9th time in the DRC. The issue started in 1976, and the death toll is 26. That means there have been 25 deaths since the initial outbreak in May.
And who were those involved?
Those involved were medical personnel, victims of the virus, and population that is currently exposed to the sickness. Now, progress is that there is a vaccine that immunizes people who have had contact with the infected. However, the vaccine is not licensed yet by the WHO.
How has this affected the population living in Congo?
Many are in distress because of the outbreak, but UNICEF has been working to contain the spread and sent out hundreds of workers throughout the community to educate children and families on protecting themselves and are further providing Ebola vaccination campaigns.
So what is the last current event that you will share with us?
The issue is the abuse of thousands of enslaved Africans, including rape, beatings, and unpaid labor. This started when the Africans wanted to migrate to Europe for a better life, but got caught in the transition and went back to Libya, where most of the slavery would happen in many countries like Ghana, Libya, and Niger and Nigeria. Those mostly involved in the slave trade sell their people for as little as 338 euros, where the stature and the age varies in price. The US, UK, and Italy are also involved in this particular situation, since the US will not give any more resources to Africa until this stops, and the UK is doing the same thing, while Italy is catching and deporting everyone who attempts to cross illegally. The country itself has not done anything to improve this situation, where there has been lots of murder, rape, theft, public violence, and everything else due to this event.
Thank you. Now let's go back and take a look at the Middle Passage.
Hi, my name is Risa Medina, and I'm a reporter here with Live News. I'm here with two individuals that plan to give you an insight on African culture. Can you tell me what you know about the Middle Passage?
We were told very bad stories of our ancestors that suffered in the Middle Passage, but because of their suffering, we are here in America today.
Yeah. There were a lot of diseases and a lot of other things, but fortunately, we're here and we're alive.
Yes, it is very, very fortunate. You see, we hear about stories from Africa and many how slavery existed from then and up to very recent events. Now, they were sold for commodities, much like weaponry and gunpowder and furnishings. We also see them taken into the Americas, which is otherwise known as the Middle Passage, and given very harsh labor. This indeed did kill them, and this also lowered Africa's population. We also see that there is a very corrupt government, seeing as the minority white Africans seem to control the government, whereas the majority black are suppressed by them. Luckily enough for us, in 1807, England was the first nation to abolish slavery. Now, following their lead, in 1865, many other countries followed, and it was the end of the Middle Passage and slavery as we know. Thank you guys for being here with me today. Back to you guys at headquarters.
Now to the Scramble of Africa.
Now let's take a look at another historical event that occurred in Africa that greatly affected people within this continent for many years. So guys, what's going on here?
Well, isn't it obvious? We're all Europeans fighting over Africa.
In other words, this is the scramble for Africa.
Interesting. Can you please explain to us exactly what the Scramble for Africa is?
Well, Trinity, the Scramble for Africa occurred between 1881 and 1914. It was the occupation, division, and colonization of African territory by European powers during the time of imperialism.
For you new viewers out there, imperialism is the policy of extending a country's power and influence through diplomacy or military force. Moving on, why exactly do you want this African territory? What makes it so special?
It's very simple. We want to colonize these lands and extract the natural resources to benefit ourselves.
I know what you're thinking. Why are we so selfish? But let me explain. This all started when slavery was abolished. Slavery was cheap labor, and it greatly helped our economy. When we could no longer have slaves, us, Europeans, decided we needed another way to boost our economy. So, it gave us a duty to uplift these people out of color. It essentially the white man's burden of civilizing these Africans.
Interesting. So are you guys just going to sit here fighting for Africa all day?
No, we have all decided we will have a meeting to come up with these rules and give different territories of Africa to different countries.
We shall call this the Berlin Conference.
I can see you all are very happy you guys got a piece of Africa. But who exactly was at this conference?
Representatives of Great Britain, Austria-Hungary, France, Germany, Russia, USA, Portugal, Denmark, Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, Sweden, Belgium, Turkey, and I think that's about it.
No, wait a minute. You're telling me that no Africans were present at this meeting?
Funny, why would they be?
You mean to tell me you held a meeting to put rules in place to see how you split Africa, but you didn't think to have any African representatives that would be present?
No.
Well, all right then. Look, here are some of the Africans passing. Let's see what they think about this event.
Don't even get me started.
Excuse me. My name is Trinidad Alice, and I am a news reporter covering the story about the Scramble for Africa. And I wanted your input on this event.
People come into our land, colonize, and take all of the resources. They want to try to civilize us. Can you believe it? We are not uncivilized, and we keep trying to tell them that we can take care of ourselves.
Can you further explain why you dislike the Scramble for Africa?
Yeah. This is bringing about racial segregation in Africa. People of color are seen as inferior to the white man. These people are stripping us of our natural resources.
This sounds horrible. Now, tell me, how do you plan on stopping all this?
We are going to decolonize. We are no longer going to depend on another country. We can and will support ourselves.
That sounds great, but will it work?
Well, we are having some trouble. During the Scramble of Africa, many Europeans came in and stripped us of everything. So we decided to decolonize, where we were left with a very unstable government and economy.
So you ended this European colonization by decolonizing, but because of the Scramble for Africa, you all had difficulties supporting yourselves and rebuilding after the Europeans stripped you of land and resources?
Correct.
That sounds awful, but looks like we're out of time. We have another story to cover, so I'll see you guys next time when we take a look at the apartheid of Africa.
Good evening, folks. My name is Visa Medina, and I'm here at a local protest against the apartheid. This is the separation between the majority black Africans versus the superior white. Now, in this past event has come to an end due to a new constitution originally designed and organized by not only the government, but by Nelson Mandela as well. Wow, better get out of here soon. Well, all you have to know is that the apartheid ended and was very prejudiced against the black majority population of Africa. And because of Nelson Mandela, they now have their freedom and a constitutional government. Let's make him fight!
Welcome back to the kitchen, and now for our ingredients.
What you'll need is sugar, flour, evaporated milk, nutmeg, cardamom, salt, coconut flakes, yeast, and oil. So these are ingredients. What you'll need is 3/4 cups of evaporated milk, next, you'll need a 1/2 cup of warm water, a 1/2 cup of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of dry yeast. And then set aside for 5 minutes after you combine these ingredients. Start the timer for 5 minutes. What you doing? I'll start one. Oh, that's my mom till like 7, 8, 9, 8. I don't have a lot. I cannot put it straight. Also add a teaspoon of cardamom, as well as 1/4 cup of coconut flakes.
Close it! It's disgusting! Oh my god.
How lightheaded. It's disgusting.
Don't smell this.
Wrong side, Elliot. And mix the dry ingredients.
Because dry is
We're going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients slowly.
okay.
Are you making a mess?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ellie has to come at some point.
Oh, yes. Technically, it's supposed to be dosey for you to go to first year.
I'm making a mess.
Shh! Quiet. Tell she's allowed to
Next, you will knead dough on a lightly floured surface until it is no longer sticky.
After you have kneaded your dough, you put it into a bowl that's slightly greased and cover it with a clean cloth. Let it rest for about an hour to 2 hours. After the hour has completed, you will lightly flour your surface and roll the dough out to an inch thick. Also flour your roll. After you have rolled it to an inch thick, you'll use a cookie cutter and then roll them into little tiny balls. And then and then put them into the frying pan at 350 degrees, and then coat them with powdered sugar, and you're good.